Welcome back to our part 2 of our texture paste ATCs. So it's a little bit grey outside and you can see the shadows. I can't put the lights on because the metal tape is so reflective, but let's get on with it and I hope you can see what we are doing today. So for the first card we are going to use the thin 30 micron tape, which we crumple and straighten, and the reason I crumple it is because it gives such an interesting sort of aged texture. And then the second card we're going to do is your 70 micron thick metal tape. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to separate the backing. I'd like to do one of these mandalas. It's always easier to put your ATC or your tag or whatever directly onto your tape than putting the tape onto your tag. So I always work a bit upside down. We've done that one. And because I'm a production line, we're going to do the thick metal tape as well. And then we're going to technique them. I'm doing both so you can see the difference in the final outcome. And I think we'll do this lovely one, maybe not. I'm rather going to do the protea on the thick tape. So there you go. Okay. And so you can use your old credit card. I've got this really nice tool from the back. Just smooth them down nicely. Or you can use your tool. And then, much easier to use the blade, we trim the excess away. And yeah, I didn't cut through here. I think my blade's a little bit blunt. Or maybe I just didn't push hard enough. One of those kind of days. And I really hope that you will be able to see this video clearly enough, because I can see there's lots of shadows today because it is overcast. And we've had nearly 10 hours of load shedding today. So I have to just do what I can when I can. I don't think my overseas followers realize how we struggle here in South Africa with load shedding, limited electricity every day, and the impact it has on everything. For example, I went to post Happy Mail at our post office today, and they had been off for 6 hours, and I got there and got all my stamps and everything, and then when I wanted to pay, they told me that their credit card machine didn't work and I didn't have cash, which means I now have to go into town again just to get stamps, because it didn't help going to the ATMs, because our ATMs don't work when there's load shedding. So that was really irritating. Anyway, my blade is definitely blunt because it's not cutting through. Okay, I'm a bit irritated with that. I think I'm going to use my scissors. Another thing that is interesting about our South African post office, it is state-owned, so like everything else it is a nightmare sometimes. The snail mail takes a while, but sometimes it's really ridiculous. I sent an internal mail, South Africa to South Africa, and it took over 6 months to reach its destination. So I don't know if it was because it was so pretty that everybody looked at the postcard, but it's insane that it takes so long. And then sometimes it really surprises me, and then I get an international mail in a month. So really, I have no words. It's just very frustrating today, and I'm not a moaner, but I just have to get it off my chest. Okay, so this is our protea on the 70 micron thick tape, and got to work it with our paper stump. Sorry about the barking dog. And here we go. So just using the paper pencil or tortillon. For those that want to know the technical name, we make sure that the tape is nicely rubbed down. Okay, so you can see how nice the protea is, and you can also feel the little bumps in the texture paste, which adds such interest. And now what I'm going to do is, sorry, I see there's a gap that didn't work. You can always go back if you see a place that you've missed. Okay, that looks great. What I'm going to do is use my ball tool, dot art tool, pewter tool, whatever tool you have. If you don't have any tools, use a ballpoint pen, works just as well. I'm going to outline everything to define it. And here we go. Okay, my light is definitely fading a bit. Can't see so clearly. Okay. So all we're doing is actually tracing around the edges. And the reason you do this is to give your ink somewhere to stick. Okay, this is looking gorgeous. You can see I've now outlined all the little grooves and things, which is stunning. I didn't do this section here, so let me just do that. And now to add a little bit more interest on the actual protea itself, I'm going to do some techniquing. So you can see the little speckles and things where the texture paste has sort of worked through, which gives really nice background detail. But I'm going to actually work on this, and I'm going to scribble my protea leaves, or petals. They're not leaves, they're petals. So I'm honestly using this little motion, like a scribble, to scribble some texture on the leaves. And obviously, if you wanted to be a bit more realistic, you could draw lines or whatever, but I'm going to do scribbles. And what I will do is I will leave one petal blank, so you can see the difference when you don't do any techniquing. And here we go. Okay, so you can see the techniquing on there. Do this bit. And here. and here. Okay, I think I'm nearly done. So the protea is one of the flowers South Africa is really known for. We have such amazing fynbos, which is indigenous flowers, and the proteas grow wild in our mountains. So I've done everything except that little section there, and I've left it so I can show you what it'll look like once we have inked it. I'm using this to do the inking, but before we ink, I want to draw a little border. You know me and the borders. Borders really finish off your project. I'm actually thinking that I'm not going to do a border all the way around. I'm only going to do a border on two sides. What do you think? Just for some interest. Sorry, I need to do it this way. I'm doing 2 lines. How cool is that? So let's ink this. And not everyone has stencils, not everyone has texture paste, so please don't fret, because there will be another tutorial with other goodies in that you can try. Something for everyone. And don't rush out and buy 100 new tools and things. You really don't need that. Just bashing your stash. So I've inked that, letting it dry, and now we'll do the other one. And there goes the barking dog again. My son's just come home from gym, hence the noise. And here you go. So this texture paste is really quite thin, and if you recall from the previous tutorial, this is the one that I smeared, so it's not going to be brilliant to do in this very bad light, but we'll give it a try. Also, once again, going around everything and outlining it, and I doubt you can actually see what I'm doing in this bad light, because suddenly I think a cloud's gone overhead and it's really gone dark. I have to look carefully to see what I'm doing. So yeah, this is the one that I smeared, so it's really proving quite difficult to see, especially in the poor light today. But we'll persevere, and hopefully something will come out of this. I'm really working all over the place because I'm working on what I can see in the poor light. Well, I think that's all I can do for now because I can't see anything else. I'm really struggling. Not a good idea here. Yeah, so this is the texture paste that I used, and then when I removed the stencil, I took it off too fast and I made a mess. But I specifically wanted to use this so you can see that even when you think you've made a mess, everything can be rescued. And there are 2 petals here. Oops, sorry, I just bumped my glasses on the camera. Got them balanced on top of my head. Okay, I think that's about the best I can do. Let's ink it up quickly before the light fades. I've got a nice storm coming. I can actually smell the rain because I've got my windows open and it's definitely on its way. And this one, give a nice border. And here, so now this is interesting. I don't want to go over where I've used the texture paste, so I'm breaking the line, the border line. Okay. Also want to show you that I made a hole in my tape there because I was a bit rough. So just keep that in mind, that your texture paste can make your thin 30 micron tape tear quite easily. You won't notice that hole once we've inked. So let's get that going quick because I want to show you the final outcome. So now you can also see that my marker is getting very tired. It actually looks purple now and not even black, but it's actually adequate for these small projects because you just want your ink in the grooves. So here we go, done. All right, so this one's finished. We'll buff it off quickly. This is our Protea on our 70 micron thick tape, and it's going to look gorgeous. And there you go. How beautiful is that? And keep tuned to my YouTube channel because I'll be doing a tutorial soon on how to color these. But now I want you to see here. This is the area that we techniqued, and that's little section there I didn't technique. And can you see how plain that looks? So it's really worthwhile trying to do some background techniques and spend a little bit more time on your project. It really affects the final outcome. And then here's our other little one we've done. This is on the thin metal tape. And this was my failure as texture paste stencil or stencil texture paste because I smudged it when I removed the stencil. But it's also going to look lovely. So only I know when things are not the way I would have liked them to be. But the final outcome is just as beautiful. So yes, keep an eye on this. I'm going to color these and they are going to look amazing. Have an awesome day and let's hope for clearer weather tomorrow.